Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Good morning, good evening, good night to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us on our Batch 12 Travel Expo, coming to you live from our sunny California office in Sunnyvale, California. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. Super excited about this expo because we decided to change things around a bit based on the feedback we've gotten from a lot of you on the content we have for our expos, which I'll talk about momentarily. Welcome. A little bit about our agenda. So as usual, we'll have opening remarks. I'll try to keep mine as short as possible. I've been told I talk quite a bit. Super excited about our keynote from Mr. Simon Hedges, who heads corporate development and strategy at Hopper. For those of you who haven't heard about all the noise Hopper has been making in the travel industry over the past year or so, I think you're going to be enlightened with what Simon has to share with us. They've managed not only to survive the pandemic, but thrive during the pandemic. Super excited about what he has to say. For the startup pitches, they're going to happen in 2 tranches. And this time around, we decided to invite a select group of startups that were chosen by our corporate partners, because we've dedicated more time to other content, such as the sustainability panel, which will be hosted by Cloverly, one of our batch startups. The topic will be around how businesses can go above and beyond generic sustainability initiatives without hurting business margins, as well as not dramatically changing the traveler's journey. That will be, the panelists will include Airbus, Marriott, and Fraport. That's followed by the second tranche of startup pitches. As always, we'll have our award ceremony for the startup from this batch, as well as the corporate partner who's been most active in the current batch, and closing remarks by our own Mr. Jordan Bray. Next, please. Obviously, we would not be here if it wasn't for our corporate partners who've stuck through the thick and thin during this pandemic with us. Their logos are represented on the bottom of the screen. If I was a betting man, for most of these folks, you're going to hear a lot of good news as we recover from the pandemic with all the initiatives that they've had in our ecosystem and outside of our ecosystem. And for those of you who don't know, the travel program started in 2016 in Silicon Valley. I had the pleasure of starting the program with our CEO, Saeed Amidi, who will be actually joining us momentarily here. And we've launched multiple offices around the globe since then, dedicated to the travel industry. We've accelerated over 300 startups, 32 overall investments from the venture team. And currently we're working with 27 digitally oriented travel suppliers and service providers. Thank you to all of our corporate partners for being here today. On the investment side, as mentioned, we have over 30 investments in the travel industry. We've actually accelerated our investments in the travel industry when a lot of VCs are shying away from travel-related opportunities. Wanted to give a huge shout out to our ventures team. They've committed to 9 investments in the travel industry this year alone, and hopefully we'll close the year out with 10 travel investments. Those investments are represented by the asterisk next to the logos here. Hopefully next year, we're actually going to speed up our rate of investments in the travel industry. The quality of the deals that we're coming across in the travel industry, primarily due to the pandemic, has gone up exponentially. So we're very, very bullish on making investments in the travel industry in years to come. With that, one of my favorite parts of our expo, it's notable travel news portion of our expos and selection days. And I'm very happy to introduce my own colleague, Mr. Mike Sung, to enlighten us with what's been happening in the travel industry over the past few months. Mike, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Amir. Hello and good day, everyone. My name is Mike Sung. I'm Director of Partner Success here at Plug and Play in Travel Hospitality. And I'm thrilled to help kick off this year's Winter Summit with a segment on notable news in travel and hospitality. But due to popular demand, we're going to start off with a quick trivia. So feel free to share your answer to show off your Jeopardy skills. And I'll share the answer at the end of the segment. So on October 22nd, 1996, a small division of Microsoft launched a website offering online booking for air, hotel, and car rental. Which online booking site was launched? You have your 4 choices here. Please pick one. All right, let's kick off notable news. So on the investment side, there's no shortage of investment news in the last few months. Some that we're excited about includes the urban air and air mobility market. So this market is projected to grow from 2.6 billion in 2020 to 9.1 billion by 2030. Just 2021 alone, $4.7 billion has been invested in this space. This is evident from the pace of Vertiport's infrastructure plan for electric vertical takeoff and landing, or eVTOL. So Vertiport is going to be a word that we're going to be using quite often, but the electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft last month, Vertiport, a leading global infrastructure operator based in Spain, with interest in over 33 airports worldwide, announced a plan to build a network of 25 vertiports across the UK. This is going to support Virgin Atlantic's future airport taxi service. Also, Airport di Roma, with other airports in Italy, have joined forces and created a new venture called Urban Blue. They're going to accelerate the development in urban air mobility infrastructure. So main eVTOL players are optimistic that we're going to see first commercial flight starting in 2024. And here at Plug and Play, we're really excited about Joby Aviation. They're based in California. And just in case you missed it, Joby is the first eVTOL company to be public listed and is backed by our partner, JetBlue Technology Ventures. All right, on the air side, talking about partnership, at Plug and Play, we're delighted on the news that one of our Batch 12 startup, Zero Avia, has partnered with Alaska Airlines to develop a hydrogen electric powered regional aircraft. No doubt a part of Alaska's net zero carbon emission strategy, along with this new venture arm, Alaska Start Ventures. Also worth mentioning, 12, a carbon transformation company from our previous batch, announced a major milestone with the United States Air Force program. 12 demonstrated successful production of jet fuel sourced from CO2. So both amazing developments on the sustainability front. So on the sustainability note, Google Flight Search will now show carbon emissions per flight. What I'm really excited about that is hopefully soon Google will share some traveler influence data that they may be tracking. Vienna Airport also introduced the Star Alliance biometrics. This service is going to benefit travelers from Austrian, Lufthansa, and Swiss flights out of Vienna hub, as well as Munich and Frankfurt airports. So hopefully soon we'll all be able to breeze through airport security very quick. All right, on to hospitality news. If anyone is interested in booking an accommodation using cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ethereum, well, then check out dTravel. dTravel is a decentralized blockchain-enabled booking platform for the home sharing economy. And they recently went live with over 200,000 global listings. And their token will allow hosts to vote on product roadmaps and governance. Also, Hopper continues to make news. Earlier this year, we learned about their fintech and funding moves. This time, it's a move into the tours and activity space, as Hopper has acquired PlacePass, one of the world's largest activity aggregators with more than 300,000 experiences in over 800 global destinations. Hopper now powers Marriott Bonvoy's tours and activity platform via its Hopper Cloud as part of its acquisition. All right, a little dose of negative bad news from a recent report from Alex Partners, a New York-based consulting firm. firm. Their report suggests that airlines will struggle to recover with structural demand decline between 15 to 25% through 2025. They cited a few things. One of them is the long-lasting effect from hybrid work and reduction in corporate travel spend. However, in contrast, the pessimistic outlook was not shared within industry supplier and leaders. For example, when the US travel restriction ban lifted on November 8th for 33 countries, shortly after the lift, Delta saw a 450% booking surge. Airbnb saw a 44% foreign booking increase and reported the strongest quarter ever for Q3 of 2021. Additionally, Emirates President Tim Clark also shared his optimistic outlook for business travel. He forecasted a full recovery in 2022 with very strong demands in 2023. That outlook was agreed by Lufthansa and United CEOs. Especially the United CEO, Scott Kirby, expects US business travel recovery to resume after the holiday season and notes that United will see its best summer period ever on transatlantic business in summer of 2022. On the hospitality side, Smith Travel Research, or STR, they moved up their US hotel demand and ADR forecast, projecting a near full recovery in 2022 instead of 2023. That's great news. The forecast aligns with predictions made by a few of the hospitality CEOs. For example, Hilton CEO Christopher Nassetta, he was quoted in saying that in the third quarter of 2022, globally, we're going to eclipse the peak of 2019. And the CEO of Marriott International, Anthony Capuano, said, quote, I think business transient is going to shock us all to the upside. Business transient is going to roar back. So we certainly hope so. And Dutch hotel company Citizen M, they are certainly getting ready for a massive recovery. You know, pent up demand is definitely there. Their capital injection to double their properties by the end of 2022 is starting to happen. I think they're going to be building a pretty nice property right here by our Facebook office down the street. So, all right. Well, that's it for notable news. And answer for trivia is Expedia. And as a bonus, then Expedia, they source all of their inventory from a GDS called WorldSpan. So, well, that's it for me and travel news. So it's now a pleasure for me to hand it off to Christy Choi, our Senior Venture Associate, for an update on investment in travel. Go ahead and take it over, Christy, all yours.
Thanks, Mike. So interesting as always. We always look forward to your new segment. Okay, well, as 2021 comes to a close, I'm sure you're all following or at least wondering where we are standing today in terms of venture capital funding and travel, especially after a really challenging year last year, full of more than you'd like of unknowns. So while we don't have the complete data for 2021 yet, research from the Lufthansa Innovation Hub indicates that investments in travel startups this year is actually on a path towards a really healthy recovery, amounting to roughly $44 billion by the end of the year. This is really exciting news for us, as last year we hit a 5-year all-time low at $23 billion, which is a 14% drop compared to 2019. Despite the increase, though, data shows that there have been actually fewer deals in quantity, meaning very early stage startups felt the negative impact of COVID the most as investors doubled down on already mature and established companies. Still, the number of startups in the sector grew by 5%, which shows that founders are not shying away from starting companies and seizing the opportunity to disrupt and innovate at a time when travel is, as we believe, at an inflection point. At Plug and Play, we've been following the deal activity quite closely, and there have been no shortage of exciting deals this year, as you probably have all been following. A few notable deals this year, however, to mention include, of course, Hopper with their $175 million Series G a few months back in August, TravelPerk's $160 million Series D, Flixbus's $650 million Series G, and their recent acquisition of Greyhound, which makes things pretty interesting. And of course, Spotnana's pretty big Series A at $34 million, which also brought them out of stealth mode. I also wanted to re-mention D-Travel's $5 million series, actually seed funding, which Mike mentioned earlier. For those who aren't aware, again, D-Travel is a decentralized platform for the home sharing economy, which facilitates short and long-term stays payable with both cryptocurrency and traditional payment methods. This raises a number of eyebrows for us, wondering if and how cryptocurrency and blockchain technology will play a more prominent role in the industry going forward. Those are areas that we definitely cannot shy away from and need to keep an eye on. So I know you're all anxiously waiting for our great keynote today, so I won't take up too much more time. But I did want to mention to you all in the audience that if anyone has any other interesting investment data to share or have deals to pass on to us, please do not hesitate to reach out. We're always happy to meet founders, fellow investors, and other folks in our ecosystem. And with that, I'd like to introduce our keynote today. Simon Hedges, as you're all anxiously waiting, leads corporate development at Hopper, where his duties include M&A and fundraising. Before joining Hopper, Simon was a buyout private equity investor at 10x Capital Management. And outside of work, he obviously enjoys travel, board sports, and getting great deals. And so with that, Simon, I'll pass it on to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you. Thank you so much for the intro, Christy. And thank you also, Amir and Jordan from the Plug and Play team for the opportunity to speak to your partners and to Batch 12. Also, thanks for doing what you do to support the tech ecosystem. So context on me, again, corporate development at Hopper, M&A and fundraising. I feel humbled to give this address, and I'm excited as it's a topic that is near and dear to me. So I'm going to share my screen. So for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about the past, present, and future of Hopper. I'm going to talk about where we're innovating, zooming into our fintech stack, how we've innovated with a focus on our structures and culture, and then a little bit about what we're doing from an M&A perspective. Unlike some other speakers at conferences, I don't have a career's worth of advice about entrepreneurship, travel, or ops. I wear on my sleeve that I'm a newcomer to travel. I'm also not going to talk about COVID or other near-term projections around travel. I'm also not going to look into a crystal ball to tell you what to build. I'm actually going to make one exception to that. I'm going to say that you should not build a travel planning app. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. So while a lot of the conversation in this presentation will be around Hopper, I think there are some universal learnings relevant to startups and corporate partners that I think you may appreciate. So jumping right in, for those who don't know, Hopper is predominantly a travel app. I say predominantly because of a few of our recent corporate partnerships with Capital One, Kayak, and a few more have brought us to web. We have over 70 million downloads, doing over 2 million downloads per month. And we sell about $2 billion in travel per year. Before that was air, hotels, cars. Now that's also tours and activities, as you heard on our acquisition update. And very shortly, that's also about to be homes. So what's our value proposition? We build travel products that save customers money. Our app customer surveys are clear. Nearly 70% of our customers say they use us for saving money or helping them find the best deal. Some more stats on our users. 70% of our bookers are under 35. Most customers hear about us organically through word of mouth. So some history. I'm going to spend some more time on this one. We launched in 2015 as a data science company with a prediction tool. That tool you'll still see in Hopper if you download it today. You're looking at maybe a flight in 2 months from New York to Miami, round trip. We'll tell you whether or not the price that you're looking at is a good deal. And if it's not, we'll tell you when to book with 90 predictions that are 95% accurate. Fred Lalonde, our founder, has described in other interviews what finding product market fit felt like, what happened. So I won't kind of rehash it, but in short, it's just that price prediction tool helps solve massive customer anxiety in their trip planning process. In 2016, we launched as an OTA off the back of that, selling air only travel. And from 2016 to 2018, we started to run into probably some pretty predictable problems. To illustrate that problem, I'm going to quote a 2012 Bill Gurley blog post on marketplace quality. As anyone in the online travel industry can confirm, the large airlines have all but obliterated the economics of online ticketing marketplaces, leading all the online players to focus on hotels. The air segment of travel was and still is the literal case study of a bad marketplace. But at the same time, it didn't stop us from launching an air-only OTA. So back to my original comment on you shouldn't start a travel planning app. Travel planning apps are often pretty bad businesses. really high customer acquisition cost, really low customer purchase frequency. Customer stickiness is a hard problem. Planning processes can be complex. It's a competitive space. But at the end of the day, if you can actually dig into the root problems of what makes a travel planning app typically a bad business and solve them, I mean, go for it. Maybe you'll create the next Hopper. Jumping back into the kind of narrative, we're at this point, we're in 2018. We had lots of monthly active users, and at that point we had over 25 million downloads. We had two major problems. One, customers were using us for shopping and then booking elsewhere. And then two, the customers that did book with us, we didn't make any money on. 2 to 3% take rates. Customer service alone probably would cover all of our revenue. So part one of our solution was adding hotels and other segments, which is something that we started to do in 2018, 2019. But then part two was a little more novel. So we thought, okay, we're experts at data. Why not put our money where our mouth is to create products for customers that alleviate anxiety while simultaneously creating profit? I'll get more into what these products actually are in a moment, but the short of it is that we were able to more than 4x our take rate in the air category and have made what was previously an undesirable segment attractive. This brings us to the beginning of this year, and the way I look at it, the present and part of the future of Hopper is for distributing these products throughout the broader travel ecosystem. So what are these products? Price freeze, cancel for any reason, flight disruption guarantee, price drop guarantee. I'll go one by one. So price freeze is an interesting one. If a user finds a great price but isn't quite ready to book, they can pay a deposit to freeze that price for up to 21 days. If the price goes down, they book the lower price. If the price goes up, Hopper pays the difference to the supplier. You can think of this sort of like us selling out of the money call options on fares where we're bearing the risk in the event the prices increase. This product makes money, but more importantly, it's a pre-purchase item. Which means we're able to activate new customers who were just using our site to browse with this alternative payment structure. Again, it's also a deposit. Cancel for any reason. This is underwriting fare refundability. So again, we're eating the loss if our customer decides not to travel. No complex claims policies, no questions asked. Flight disruption guarantee. So that's if your trip is delayed, you miss your connection, or if a flight canceled by the airline, you can instantly rebook the next flight to your destination in the app at no additional cost. You can book on any airline directly in the Hopper app. We cover the full ticket cost. If you don't want any of the rebooking options, Hopper will refund the cost of the original ticket. So some questions we get are, why is this fintech? We're taking on all the financial risk of offering these services. And with that in mind, our financial reporting looks a little bit more like a hedge fund than an OTA's. They also offer financial security to our customers. There are more detailed talks online digging into fintech. One more thing I want to note, these products are all dynamically priced based on our risk assessments. So that might include user attributes, route info, duration to fly, weather, and so many more drivers of pricing, and also our assumptions around customer behavior. Our intelligent underwriting makes it so that these products can be cheaper than traditional travel insurances. So 50% of our revenue in our app marketplace is from fintech today. The number is actually a little higher just in the air segment, so about 70%. And the percentages of revenue in the hotels and car rental segment are increasing as we figure out our business models there. So fintech has seen rapid adoption in our app. We were able to prove the unit economics of pricing this risk. So almost 60% of our app customers purchase at least one ancillary product when making a booking, and the average purchaser is buying 1.64 ancillary products. An interesting stat: a user who's previously bought one of these products is between 2.5 and 7 times more likely to purchase that product again when it's presented on their return visit. So zooming out, we obviously operate in a massive travel market, $1.4 trillion globally. Based on a somewhat unscientific estimate, we believe that this consumer fintech opportunity is up to $168 billion. That's taking what we've been able to do to our take rates in air and in a couple of other segments and applying them across the industry. So we've launched Capital One to significant fanfare. I'm not sure if anyone saw their Venture X card announcement last week, but 5x cash back on flights, 10x cash back on hotels and car rentals. My view is it's one of the strongest, if not the strongest, premium card in the market today. I'm a Chase Sapphire Reserve, former Chase Sapphire Reserve diehard, and I'm also the annoying guy at dinner that will ask you why you're paying with the credit card that you're paying with. As Christy said in my intro, I like to get good deals. So I'm really excited about the partnership that we formed with Capital One. So an obligatory plug, if you're an OTA, if you're an airline, if you're a meta, if you're a hotel chain, or if you're somewhere else in the travel ecosystem, check us out. You have nothing to lose. So the last 5 to 10 minutes, I've been talking about fintech and Hopper's history. Some of this information you can find in other places of the internet. I think what hasn't probably been talked about enough publicly is how we've been able to do what we've been able to do. And with that in mind, I want to give you more context on what our culture is like and what are the structures in Hopper that have enabled us to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish. So I'm going to start with a quote. The stronger the culture, the less corporate process a company needs. When the culture is strong, you can trust everyone to do the right thing. Thanks, Brian Chesky. So 2016 to 2018, we'd achieved virality, 25 million plus downloads at a very low customer acquisition cost, but we were unable to grow revenue faster than 50% year over year. And as you know, we had hit a wall in monetization. 2018 was the lowest point from a product delivery standpoint. We spent the entire year tweaking a few products that didn't have product market fit. Our best people were constantly in meetings, making trade-offs and coordinating. Whenever someone wanted to build or launch something new or risky, they ran into multiple layers of pushback and roadblocks. We did strategic offsites to try and break down the silos and get alignment. Things weren't getting done. People started leaving. Our org structure was partially to blame. Most companies follow some version of this model. You have functional teams like product, engineering, data science that have a series of competencies and practices. You have business groups that own customers and revenue. And in this visual, maybe you could imagine A as car rentals, B as tours and activities, and C as travel insurance. Across these three business lines, you could have up to 12 total teams. To make a matrix structure like this work, you need to create a high degree of alignment. You need to have a strategic plan. You need to do communication and collaboration. And further, this model gets really tough if you operate a marketplace with multiple product lines. Where adding product lines adds an incredible amount of complexity. So what was our solution? We ended the silos. The single-threaded owner model is something we adopted, modeled off of Amazon, where there's one leader per A, B, C, per STO accountable for all results of that subgroup. So some leadership principles we look for in revenue leaders, in STO leaders: customer obsessed, have ownership, bias for action, deliver results, hire and develop amazing people. These are all cross-functional teams. So a rockstar leader that can recruit and manage product, data science, engineering is a very different type of person than the product officer who may be great at what they do, but oversees a team of product managers working disparately across different products within a marketplace org. In my time at Hopper, it's become pretty clear that that this model is something like running a startup within a scale-up that benefits rounded leaders who can attract people that are far better than them. All groups run on a shared brand, shared platform, shared security, and maybe more importantly, a shared culture. And I'd also add, before you think this is insane, Hopper does operate shared services in some areas. So ops, legal, finance don't totally adhere to this exact model. More on single-threaded owner, you have a single-threaded ownership model when you as a unit are focused only on one thing, and this one thing could have multiple business or customer level objectives, but you're focused on one thing and you're the only person responsible for that thing. One thing, one person. As a note, team size are typically capped at 12. This isn't actually a quote that I've heard within Hopper, but I think it applies pretty well. It doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so that they can tell us what to do. Steve Jobs. Okay, some buzzwords. What does a culture of ownership look like? Autonomy, ownership, and impact, I do all think apply, but on a more micro level, in my experience, it's looked like someone who joined the finance department as a fraud analyst, who upskilled to become a data scientist, who upskilled again to become a software engineer. It looks like someone who joined as a data scientist in 2016 or 2017, who succeeded over and over again, and now leads our entire fintech division, Ella Alcalay Schreiber. It also looks like a 2019 acqui-hire of a company in the restaurant tech space that actually ideated and executed to build our entire Hopper Cloud strategy. In all scenarios, these were people capable of driving non-obvious improvements by diving deep into their respective areas. And I think it's pretty intuitive that this strategy should scale faster and create a lot more innovation than a traditional matrix org. I would also add that I'm probably an example of this to a certain extent. I originally asked our founder, Fred Lalonde's, permission to represent Hopper and speak at this conference, and this was his response. I think I was going back and forth on how to tell this, and I realized I could just snip our Slack. And this is just so awesome. And it's like really not normal in my experience and talking to peers at other companies. And I think what this does for the psyche of an employee, what this did for my psyche as an employee coming from a more corporate environment, is that it's just tremendously empowering. So corporate partners, when you think about what's happening within the Hopper machine that will make the fintech product that could be integrated into your platform, it's an entrepreneurial 30-something-year-old PhD for the most part and in data science products that are going to lead your product, and they're not being sidelined with some business guy in front making all the decisions. It's actually them giving everything they have and being empowered in our culture to build things that the business guy, traditionally the leader of a matrix org, might not have thought of before. And I think the outcome of this shows in our work. But enough personal anecdotes. What happened? So all of a sudden, organizationally, we had the bandwidth and capability to innovate. I think I called out 25 initiatives since 2019 in this slide, including our refundable fare product, a price freeze, launching cars, fintech for hotels, our Care Cash program, which is our loyalty program, homes. In the single-threaded ownership model, centralized planning stops being a bottleneck. Culture is our competitive advantage. So obviously, as everyone knows, the travel industry had a rough 2020, while we were able to grow 100%. And while we definitely took share, this improvement wasn't just on volume, or wasn't on volume. We had the same passenger headwind everyone else did. It was mostly on monetization. So going back, here's where we hit by the end of 2018. And here's what our last few years have looked like. We've 20x revenue growth in the last 3 years, and 5x even from the months just before COVID. 2020 was a take rate story in terms of explaining that performance, but this is a lot better and more sustainable. This is more customer loyalty and stickiness. This is more categories being consumed where there are better economics. And then this is more downloads. These aren't one-off bumps. These are real drivers, and we're on our way to becoming a fundamentally strong marketplace, I think, even by Bill Gurley standards. Got it. So with that, I'm going to give a little bit of an update of where we're up to from an M&A perspective. We've acquired or acquired 5 companies this year. The strategies spanned kind of a couple different areas. Sometimes it's been entry to new travel categories, that's tours and activities, that's homes. Sometimes it's been to improve our fintech capabilities with really strong data science leaders and teams. Sometimes it's been to help us grow into new regions. Sometimes it's to improve our B2B distribution. But we're considering a lot of areas, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. More cloud partners also. As we're expanding, we need more people. We're clearly hiring. Hopper's a product that's near to my heart because it's a product that I believe in. Let's stop sharing. It's a product that I believe in selling to founders who may want to build within a scale up. It's fun finding, meeting, getting to know founders who may fit our model. I think in some ways our corporate development effort looks a lot like VC, where we're actually incubating a product within the Hopper brand. M&A is one of the key tools Hopper has to attract and develop the next gen of travel leadership. If you're a startup, come join us. If you're a corporate, come learn more about how we can help you.
Thanks so much, Simon. Thanks for the great keynote. I definitely learned a lot, and I think it's so great that you touched upon culture, because that's definitely a tougher egg to crack, I think, than just turning over a business or starting a new product line. Changing the culture at an organization is obviously much more challenging and takes a lot more time. So too bad we don't have more time to dig into that, but I think we all enjoyed your keynote as the chat is going off right now. I had quite a few questions sent to me directly, but I will start with one that I just kind of wondering, going off your keynote. In a single thread ownership model, how does it work when it comes to related or overlapping products?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I think that what's important to note is, and you'll hear Fred talk about this in interviews, but he'll say statements like communication is terrible. And I think in a lot of ways, communication is terrible, but the context for why we can get away with saying communication is terrible is really helpful. There are very strong practices and procedures within Hopper on documentation of your work. So every quarter you drop a roadmap. Every year you reset your North Star objectives, and everything is very well written and well documented, so that the point isn't that no one can know what you're doing. The point is that people can go and self-serve themselves to figure out what's going on in other areas of the organization. And I think also when statements like communication is terrible are made, a lot of times it's in the context of what that team of 12 that maybe is just working on travel insurance, that it may not be helpful for them to know everything that the car rentals team is doing. But in a lot of cases, it is important that the single-threaded owner leader of that group actually does know what's going on. So we also have weekly revenue meetings that include every STO lead, so that they know what's going on more broadly in the organization. Yeah, so I think I'd answer it that way.
Great, thanks so much for your answer. Yeah, I'm looking forward to one day Hopper releasing a book where we can actually take note for note everything that you guys are doing.
Yeah, me too.
One question from the audience, and I think this will be a last, unfortunately, because of our time. Hopper Cloud Solutions seems to give Hopper a competitive edge over competition. What was the thinking behind white labeling solutions to other players, some of which may be competitors to Hopper?
Yeah, so I think we think about this like travel is a massive space, and I think if you also think about why our customers use us, I think I said a couple notes during our pitch on why that wasn't necessarily. I think our customers use us to save money and to find deals. Distributing out our fintech category to the broader travel ecosystem, I think is an opportunity to kind of rising tide lifts all ships. Yeah, and I think it's something that we're happy to do. And I think Fred explains it very simply. He's just like, it builds more volume. It's that simple. Not much more thought was gone into than that. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, travel is a huge space, multiplayer space, and I think a lot more collaboration should be happening.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Simon. I think we're out of time, but I'm sure you'll get a lot of follow-up after this keynote. A lot of people are interested and still interested to see what Hopper's up to. And we're definitely big fans here. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Great. Moving right along, I'd like to now introduce our MC, Paula Pardo, who is also our superstar analyst based in Valencia, Spain, but joining us here in Silicon Valley. We're so happy to have you here, Paula. Kick it off with start presentations.
Yeah, thank you, Christy, for the kind words. And Simon, thank you. It was an amazing keynote. We'll now hear about the amazing startups that we have lined up for today. Remember that at the end of each startup pitch block, we're going to have a poll so you can ask for meeting with the startups in case you want to do some follow-up. And we also have some of our startup representatives dialing. So feel free to ask any questions. I'm sure they will be able to answer either on the chat or through DMs. So we're going to start with our first startup, our own Aussie, Will Morris, founder of Airboard. Will, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Will Morris, founder of Airboard. Airboard is a software platform that focuses on removing queues from airport touchpoints. We have built specialized solutions for airport security, boarding, and more recently, disruption management. Our solution allows airports and airlines to get to their goal of streamlining the passenger journey throughout the airport. Today, we'd like to give you some background about our business and provide you an update of our progress over the last few months. Earlier this year, we simultaneously launched two products, Personalized Boarding and Security Express. Over the last 4 months, we've had over 5,000 users use our products, handled over 3,500 transactions, and increased our revenue by 500%. For our security solution, we've secured a long-term revenue share agreement with the brand new Terminal B airport at LaGuardia in New York. The team at LaGuardia used our platform to create an automated front-of-line pass for their airport security. The solution allows customers to purchase an instant or pre-book pass to get access to the express lane. It's been up and running since July, with 80% of customers rating it 5 stars. The team loves the product because it doesn't require a large physical space to implement like other providers. There's no app to download or to install. We can have it up and running in weeks, and it can be automated with the integration of an e-gate. It's a great way to give customers more control over their journey, as a number of passengers who purchased this pass were running late for their flight. The revenue share option allows them to minimize their upfront costs and not to become another overhead. We also have an alternative offering if you're looking to allow customers to book a time to get through security for free. Over the last 3 months, we've been working with a leading European airline out of Heathrow to implement personalised boarding. We're currently piloting on over 120 international flights. We have also released a fully automated version that doesn't require the gate staff to administer any functions at the gate. The team at Heathrow are using the platform to reduce queuing at the gate, allow their premium customers to relax in the lounge for longer, and to achieve their overall goal of allowing customers to just walk on to their flight. There are multiple operational benefits over time with scale, and also ancillary revenue opportunities for priority boarding. So far, 80% of customers using the system said they'd use it again. We also have launched a new feature which allows airports and airlines to manage flight disruptions. In circumstances outside of your control, flights get changed or cancelled or delayed. We are working with an airport to refine the implementation to be ready for the winter flights and winter disruptions. The service will allow you to manage customers who have been disrupted and to make sure the rest of their experience aligns with your normal offering. If you'd like to know more about our products, please get in touch and we can arrange a follow-up. If you're an airline, we offer an unintegrated solution for testing, so you can get it up and running really quickly at your airport of your choosing. For airports who are keen to add more choice for their customers and to drive revenue at their airport, please get in touch about Security Express. Finally, I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity to be part of the plug and play journey. Our mentors have been fantastic. Their experience and perspective has been really valuable to us, and we look forward to keeping in touch as Airboard continues to grow and transform the passenger experience at airports. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. It was wonderful. Up now, we have all the way from London, Dana Latouf, founder and CEO of Tikito. Dana, the floor is yours.
I'm Dana Latouf, CEO at Tikito. We continuously hear that the ticketing space is hugely fragmented and runs on very old reservation infrastructure. And while current incumbents are aggregating supply for cultural tours and activities and distributing it via API, the reality is those incumbents are leaving a lot of money on the table by foregoing an untapped category of live entertainment. So that's anything like sports, music, theater, circus, and so on. And the reality is unlocking that category is not very easy because it creates a complex data problem, which requires a lot of standardization work from a data perspective in order to be able to surface that event on a platform. The diagram you see here is actually an attempt of us trying to mimic that complexity. And the reality is it still masks other key complexities, the complexities of building relationships with different supply partners, of closing those agreements from a legal perspective, and maintaining those integrations from a technology perspective. At Ticketo, we offer one normalized data model across all different event categories and geographies via one single API connection. And we believe with a few lines of code, developers should be able to integrate and access the world's best events across all different categories. More importantly, our business model is based on the fact that we operate as a B2B marketplace for tickets, meaning that it's always one single relationship that the platform needs to build. We are not a channel manager. Therefore, we negotiate commission with our event suppliers, and then we extend those commissions to the distribution partners, retaining a fraction of the commission. The best events are already available on Ticketo, including the Formula One in Abu Dhabi, Hamilton on Broadway, Cirque du Soleil across the world, the NFL, and so on. That is supply that you cannot find on Viator, Get Your Guide, or any other incumbent in this space. We also built a distribution network of more than 50 million potential ticket buyers by tapping into the customer bases of the likes of Carrefour Voyages, Isango, Destinia, and many others. But the most important thing here to remember is that this is not just a supply play. It's also an API play because not all APIs are created equal. And here's why our partners are choosing Ticketo every time. The reality is our data models are designed for better discoverability. We work on enabling each event with really great content through our enrichment workers. We also really categorize each event on a granular basis, allowing people to find what they're searching for through the tags that we tag the events with. We also don't expect the developers to redesign the seating maps on an event-by-event basis, which is why we extend real-time dynamic seating plans within our API via an endpoint. We also created a universal checkout experience, meaning that regardless of the admission model or the checkout model that comes from the back-end systems, it's all normalized to be a single checkout experience. It's been 3 months of incredible progress for us, having closed the pre-seed round back in August and joined the plug-and-play batch in September. Our distribution pipeline is very active, with a total of 12 new committed prospects this quarter, 4 of which are plug-and-play corporate partners. On the supply side, we've seen 62% growth in our gross inventory value, which now totals $31.3 billion. And more importantly, on the team side, we've grown by 100% across positions filled within the company quarter on quarter. All of this is made possible because we have an all-star team in place, including myself. We have Eli Hammouche, who's our tech lead and brings 8 years of experience in the software space. Chris Archer-Brown, who's our CCO now, is actually a serial entrepreneur. Nick and Harry bring more than 15 years of experience combined in the ticketing space. And Paul Garibaldi brings a lot of the platform knowledge as our advisor, who's actually head of platforms at Google EMEA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dana. It was a lovely pitch, as always. Up next, we have a sustainability startup, Gimbal, and coming all the way from Australia, and which will be presented by Frances Atkins, its co-founder and director. Frances, whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Frances, co-founder of Gimbal. Today, I'll be updating you on 3 things. what we've done during the Plug and Play program, where we're headed, and what we need. But first, a quick reminder on what Gimbal does. We are a platform solution wholly focused on the sustainability of your suppliers. We help businesses discover and track sustainability credentials and attributes, such as their certifications, accreditations, ratings, commitments, and initiatives, and cover the full spectrum of sustainability, which includes environmental, ethical, diversity, social, community, and governance. We now have coverage of over 1 million credentials and span hyperlocal, regional, and global sources. The smarts of the platform are proprietary algorithms automating mapping to sustainability frameworks, as well as machine learning to identify supplier matches. What we've done. From a product perspective, we released into beta 2 new tools. First, a self-service supplier quick search tool. Users can run a quick check on a supplier or business name to validate their sustainability claims. It returns the number of credentials recorded, and the user can choose to purchase an extract or subscribe to run multiple searches. Second, our supplier portal. This is a smart registration tool automatically identifying supplier credentials. It gives the supplier a shareable link to use in quotes, tenders, onboarding, and contract reviews, with all their credentials housed in one place for easy viewing by buyers. We also continue to receive incredible feedback on our high-volume supplier scan, typically for organizations with more than 5,000 suppliers. We have added some additional insights so that users can now see which suppliers advance their targets, from net zero to supplier diversity to ethical sourcing and more. Come and talk to us to get a sample on your suppliers. And finally, in travel and tourism, in collaboration with 4 food and beverage wholesaler retailers to restaurants and hotels, we've submitted a proposal to the WWF to assist in validating the sustainability claims of food suppliers on a recurring and scalable basis. Where we're headed. We believe every business will need to demonstrate their sustainability credentials. To support this future state, we continue to optimize our infrastructure and build on our algorithms and models to deliver data and insights in the most flexible, accessible, and efficient way. This is key, particularly in the rapidly evolving topic of sustainability. An API is on our product development roadmap for 2022 to deliver our data direct, both to clients and channel partners. We also have an agreement to develop an integration with one of the largest ERP software providers in the world, as well as a supply chain financier for sustainability-linked working capital solutions. We continue to pursue partnerships like these to scale our reach. What we need. Next year, we are focusing on 2 things, product and business development. Both require funding. Hence, we will commence a capital raise in the first half of next year. If you would like to receive updates, send us an email at hello@gimbal.com to be added to our distribution list. On business development, we want to increase our visibility to mid and large cap companies, and we're seeking introductions to sustainability and ESG professionals, procurement and sourcing, as well as companies with supplier diversity programs. If this is you or someone you know, send me an email directly at francis@gimbal.com. That's it from us. We're Gimbal, and we look forward to continuing our relationship with the Plug and Play community. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Francis. Up now, we have another sustainability solution, this one a bit closer to home, if you call California home, that is. One startup that some of you might have seen in the news. Please join me in welcoming James Peck, VP of Business Development, who will tell us all about ZeroAvia. James?
Hi, everyone. I'm James Peck, and I'm the VP of Business Development at ZeroAvia. For those of you that don't know, we're developing a family of electric aero engines that are powered by a hydrogen fuel cell. These engines are zero emission, and hydrogen as the fuel source can be produced from water. All our engine produces when it runs is water vapor. So it's fully environmentally friendly, zero emission, and runs on a fully sustainable fuel source. We flew the prototype of our system for the first time last year with government support on the funding basis, and we've made fantastic progress since that time. We've moved our team to our own hangar at Cotswold Airport in the UK, and back in May, since that time, we've done a tremendous amount of work with that facility. For example, we've put in a machine shop, a fuel cell assembly clean room, test facility for fuel cells, power electronics and software testing rigs, avionics, as well as a huge office building for our engineers. And we're continuing to recruit engineers and develop the facility further. In terms of the engine programs, our first engine is for aircraft up to 19 seats. And that engine has been on a test cell in California at our facility over there for the last 4 months. It's completed a number of simulated flight cycles and is performing really, really well. So we're pleased. We also received our Dornier flight test aircraft earlier this year at our facility in the UK. And our team is busy now converting that aircraft to take one of the engines off test, ready for flight testing at the end of the year or potentially very early next year. Our second Dornier aircraft will also arrive at our California facility later this year, and the process will be replicated. So we'll ultimately have 2 aircraft flying on flight test over the next few months. We're currently on track for an entry into service of 2024, which is our plan. It's an aggressive plan, but it's totally achievable, and we're currently on track for that. So that's good. And it's really starting to get exciting as we start to accelerate towards our first commercial entry of our engine into service. The last point to make is that we continue to raise funding for these programs. Of course, they cost money. We're currently closing a round we've been running recently, and we'll have another funding round next year. And of course, if anyone has an interest either in learning more about the products or is looking to maybe convert their aircraft with our engines, or indeed is interested in investing in ZeroAvia to help bring this technology to market, then please get in touch with us. But it's exciting times. There's lots happening. We're making great progress, and we really appreciate sharing our progress with you today. Thanks very much.
Thank you, James. Now, keeping up with the sustainability focus, this time we have a startup that comes from a warmer part of the world, United Arab Emirates. While they are not part of batch 12, they will be in our next top 100, so it's kind of a sneak peek. Join me in welcoming Yadushan Mahendran, co-founder and CEO of this amazing initiative, The Concept. Yad, whatever you want.
Hi, my name is Yadushan Mahendran, and I'm the co-founder and CEO at The Concept. We're helping airlines increase their profits and reduce their costs. The aviation industry has a huge waste problem. In fact, every single year, 1.4 million tons worth of untouched food and beverage ends up in landfills after a flight. On top of that, 520,000 tons of cabin waste, items such as water bottles that can be recycled, also ends up in landfills after a flight. Together, these problems are worth a whopping $4 billion every single year. To solve the cabin waste problem, we introduced Neos Fly. It's the world's first in-flight economy food tray that's manufactured from recycled cabin waste. It's lighter in weight, it's antimicrobial to curb the pandemic, and it's even 20% cheaper than our competitors. Having launched the product only a few months ago, we're already in tender with 4 global airlines at a tender value of $10 million US. Now let's have a look at why so much untouched food and beverage ends up in landfills after a flight. It actually happens due to the lack of data. Because today, airlines only have data of what food is going on board an aircraft. But they're not collecting data on what food's been served, what was preferred by their passengers, and how much food waste was actually made by their passengers. Not having this data leads to limited passenger preference data, which leads to a lot of food waste, and this leads to high cost. That's where today we're developing Neos Fly Plus. It's the world's first in-flight smart food tray that features an embedded NFC tag. This tag will help airlines to understand data on whether a meal was served or not, what type of meal it was, and will even be able to tell them what percentage of an entire tray was consumed or not. The trays are connected to our proprietary IoT receivers that's retrofitted to an airline's existing cabin trolley. And with this data, airlines will be able to understand their passenger consumption and preference. They'll have predictive data for inventory utilization and forecasting, and the big bold statement that we're going to help airlines reduce their F&B waste and costs by up to 50%. We sell our trays today for $1.50 on average. But in order for airlines to get access to our data, we only charge them $0.06 per tray per flight route. So for a full flight, an airline would just pay $24 to get access to all that data. Now we'll resell this data to other organizations, and we're going to market using our distribution partner and through our existing partnerships. We signed a developmental partnership with Etihad Airways a few months ago, and at the end of a successful POC, we'll be awarded an annual average contract worth $1 million. We're currently in talks with 4 global airlines to bring them as part of our development and launch program for Neos Fly Plus today. Our market size is worth $2.4 billion annually, and we're currently going after our obtainable market that's worth $300 million. So where are we? Today we're completing our testing and doing our POCs. By Q3 of 2022, we aim to have launched Neos Fly Plus, and beyond then, build a suite of IoT products that connects to our proprietary IoT receiver. Our co-founders bring in their knowledge in technology, engineering, design, business, and innovation, and were recently featured in the Forbes 30 Under 30 Middle East 2021 class. We have a growing tech team and talent, and our goal is to have 10 developers by the first quarter of 2022. Till date, we've raised $450,000 from reputed investors, and we're on task to close our round for $1.2 million by Q1 of 2022. Plug and Play has been able to provide us a lot of support and open opportunities for us. Through their Plug and Play IATA session, we were connected to 20 plus airlines globally and are today speaking with Plug and Play and their investor network for investment towards our existing round. Neos Fly Plus will be the first smart product that connects to our proprietary IoT receiver. But going forward, our goal is to build a host of IoT products that connects to our receiver, creating a smart cabin. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the first block of pitches. So now it's time for our estimated panelists to talk about sustainability in the industry. So welcome Airbus, Fraport, and Merit, but especially to Dan Bonnet, VP and Head of Sales and Business Development of Cloverly, who will be our moderator. Don't remember to fill the poll if you want to be introduced to any of the startups that have pitched today. Thank you very much.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Paula, for the introduction. And yes, joining me is an amazing panel of experts in the travel and hospitality space. So I want to introduce them to everybody now. Amy Bourne is a Senior Manager, Sustainability and Supplier Delivery at Marriott International. Amy, welcome to you and thanks for participating with us. Stefan List is Head of Cabin Market Insights at Airbus. And Klaus Grunau is VP of Corporate Strategy and Digitalization at Fraport. So welcome to all of our panelists, and certainly thank you for being with us today. So now that we're acquainted, let's jump into a few topics, but I want to make sure that anybody in the audience listening as well, if you have any questions for the panelists, please submit them in. We'll be monitoring for those, and we will try to get to as many of them as possible at the end. Great. So let's jump in. The first topic is, so we've got hotels, airports, manufacturing represented here. The question is, what are your customers asking you for as it relates to sustainability? Do those customer requests differ from what you're hearing from investors, suppliers in your supply chain, and the pressures you're getting from governments? Amy, if you don't mind, could you lead us off with this question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. So I think I'll start by saying they're asking indeed. I mean, the ask for sustainability information from all of those groups has just grown exponentially over the past couple of years. And really, I kind of think of it, I like the way the question is separated. Customers typically are asking more for, what are their associates going to see when they're in our hotels versus some more, long-term strategies and commitments from investors and suppliers. I'll add NGOs to that mix as well. So really, where I think to start where the overlap is really kind of that policies and commitments space. What are we doing from a climate action perspective? How are we making sure that our buildings are resilient? And how are we really just having that longer term version for sustainability through our Serve 360 sustainability and social impact platform? Another area that I think there's a really good deal of overlap though, that customers and those other groups are looking to get information on is sustainable certifications for our hotels. So really understanding that a hotel is either designed with sustainable principles and then of course after the fact being operated as efficiently as possible. So those are kind of some of the overlap areas. But when it comes to our B2B customers as well as our leisure customers, they really want to know, are they going to be getting a sustainable experience? Will they see recycling within the hotel? Is the hotel donating to charitable organizations when there's leftover food? Have we reduced single-use plastics and other materials as much as possible? Essentially wanting to get a sense of what that experience is going to look like. And so we spend a lot of time gathering that information from our hotels to make sure that we can, paint that picture for them as clearly as possible on the front end. But those asks are coming in hot and heavy, and we're really excited for them because it really just demonstrates the importance of sustainability across, our entire company.
Awesome. Thanks, Amy. There's a lot to process there. Klaus, would love to hear how what you guys are fielding from your customers and all the other organizations that might be making requests to find you as well.
Absolutely, Dan. Well, first of all, I think we really have to differentiate between the different dimensions of sustainability. First being ecological dimension, second being the social, and third being the governmental or the governance perspective. And if we're looking at the ecological dimension, we can see that the public debate on this issue is very present, and it's being brought to us by our customers. So they ask the question on how ecologically correct flying is in times of global warming and what we are doing as an industry to make a difference. So especially investors are increasingly looking at our measures in this regard. The availability of accurate ESG data and information, for instance, is weighted by asset owners and allocators as a key driver in investment decisions, making up for 26% of funds under management in 2019, up from 21% in 2015. So that shows on how important that issue is. But also the second dimension, like the social dimension, becomes more important as looking at numbers like diversity, worker health, and others. Those are influencing our employer attractiveness, especially among the Generation Z and beyond, and thus our ability to recruit young talent and rejuvenate our industry. And the third and not the last governance dimension is, as we are majority owned by the public sector, so Fraport is 51% owned by the state and the city of Frankfurt, the demands on our corporate governance have always been very high. So as you can see, all those three dimensions tend to increase in importance throughout our stakeholder landscape.
Oh, that's fascinating. Thank you, Klaus. Appreciate the comments on that. Stefan, would love to hear what you guys are hearing at Airbus from your customers and investors.
Yeah, basically, if we think of customers, we think in two ways. One, of course, our airline customers and our leasing company customers, but as well, everybody here attending, the passengers. So that's why for us, the first step to summarize the holistic approach is to provide transparency. And recently, Airbus has joined the so-called Scope 3 framework, where we published all the greenhouse gas emissions we emit along our value chain, but also our products emit during their lifetime. So we are one of the first OEMs to provide that transparency. And the second important step after providing that transparency is to put that in context. give you one example. The global aviation industry emits about 2 to 3% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So this is the absolute figure needs to put in context in order to derive the most important actions then and prioritize where we can achieve the most without hurting other elements of the value chain.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's great. And that the last part of your comment leads into the next question, which is you've got a lot of requests from different people, from consumers to employees to business partners, government, etc. And I'm sure it's a ton of requests that vary in many different ways. How do you prioritize all of that stuff in your roadmap? Klaus, would love it if you could lead us off on this one.
Well, I believe it's almost impossible to prioritize these requests properly because in the end, all dimensions have to be served. However, it must be clear that for us as a stock listed enterprise, the economic viability of our business model must be ensured. So especially after the Corona crisis, which, as you all know, cost us billions and catapulted our debt into a new high, this limits the options. And so what is important to us is that all the issues we address create real change and are not pure window dressing. So that's our prevailing philosophy, I believe.
Awesome. Thank you, Klaus. Stefan, back to you. How do you guys think about prioritizing the various requests that you get?
I mean, it's a matter of the perspective from the different stakeholders we have in our industry. And of course, improving or reducing the environmental footprint of our production facilities and of our products is not a new thing. It's something we constantly work on since many, many years, and many others in our industry do as well. So that's therefore, I think what we strengthened also to look into the operational part of our products. I mentioned scope, but I give you another example. We recently performed a test flight, what we call a fellow flight of 2 aircrafts flying next to each other from Toulouse to Montreal. It was our AC-15-900 followed by an AC-50-1000 in a distance of 3 kilometers. And the following aircraft could reduce engine power, and by using the airstream of the leading aircraft, and by that we saved more than 6 tons of CO2, which equals basically a potential of a reduction of kerosene use of 5% for all aircrafts. So we now work with ICAO and other organizations to put a framework in place that this can be commercialized mid of this decade.
Wow, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing the example. Yeah. Amy, how do you guys think about this at Marriott?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, it was said already that all of these are essentially priorities for us, and anything that our customers and these other stakeholders are bringing to the table is certainly something that we're always keeping pulse on. But as I mentioned before, our Circ 360 Sustainability and Social Impact Platform has our next generation goals through 2025, and that is really what keeps us centered. But I think, goals are great, but we don't necessarily always know exactly how we're going to get there. So we actually very much rely upon, the demands and the needs of our customers, and whether it's government legislation or NGO criticism. I mean, we really keep such a close pulse on that to kind of be able to pivot and move as needed with various trends and demands that come down the pike. So we're always flexing and trying to figure out what are the best solutions, and oftentimes our customers are actually suggesting a better way to do things. And so we're always kind of keeping our ear to the ground to make sure that we are meeting those needs, but also staying true to the materiality assessment that we originally did to create our goals, and what makes sense for the owners of our hotels and our associates, and make sure that they're actually realistic programs that are coming down.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And on the theme of meeting the demand of your customers, that leads us into our next topic. I'm personally hearing, as I talk to people about sustainability, that it's starting to affect sales and growth, right? New customer acquisition, client retention, winning bids and RFPs. Sustainability is making its way into those processes. So the question is that true from what you're seeing? And if so, how are you responding? Stefan, maybe you can lead us off on this one.
Yes, this is true, but not just as a new development. It's true in our industry for quite a long time. So again, an example for our older type of aircraft, we offer now on all aircraft types the so-called new engine options, so optimized engines. Of course, our youngest aircraft in the fleet, the A350, already had it since the beginning. So of course, this is a key question in each and every campaign, in each and every discussion with our shareholders and stakeholders. And it's important to address, as Amy mentioned, what are the most promising elements we can work on, because it's not a one-off thing. It's not one tool fits all. It's important to have that holistic view, but then to slice the elephant in pieces to focus on what is can be achieved very soon. Give you another example, weight reduction. Of course, for our product is always a key element, reducing the fuel burn. In 2015, we launched together with our partner Autodesk what we called the Bionic Partition. The Bionic Partition is the partition which is in front of our seat rows or behind, and we applied principles from nature, from biomimicry, and 3D printed this partition and reduced the weight by 50%. So it's important to look into those examples, but the baseline for all of that is to have a strong partner network in place and work with all the different stakeholders.
Yeah, very good, and love the examples. Amy, what are you all hearing at Marriott? And I would imagine it is part of the process as well. And also, do you see the process like accelerating? Is it happening more frequently than maybe it was 2-3 years ago?
Oh my gosh, yeah, like I said at the top of the panel, so one of the areas of information that I forgot to mention before is carbon and water footprint reporting for our customers. So, our B2B customers want to know what their stays with us and meeting and events, what the carbon emissions and water footprint for those events are. So pre-pandemic, we were delivering to just over 100 of our corporate customers. We're now up to 270. I mean, the growth and demand for this information has just been, really, really amazing. And again, we definitely welcome it. And it's gotten to a point, and this is unfortunate for some of our hotels that are not as far on their sustainability journey, but between the 270 reports, 5,000 RFPs that we're responding to with this information comes out to be about $5 billion as of 2019. It's a lot of money on the table. And we have had corporate customers say to us, if this hotel is not able to, implement recycling or deal with food waste or whatever their priorities are, they're not going to be part of their preferred travel program. And so we've had to, work really closely with hotels to let them know that it is absolutely about, reducing our environmental footprint and meeting our company goals. But this really boils down to actual dollars that are being left on the table if they're not coming along this journey with us. So it's been really impactful for our program in general, and it can be, a huge revenue generator for our hotels, especially, coming out of the pandemic.
Awesome, thank you. That's fascinating. Klaus, how about you? What are you seeing on your side?
Well, I think it definitely has an impact on growth and financing. As Stefan said, it's not limited to our industry. Just to give you two figures, I mean, the assets under the management for investment companies globally that incorporate ESG criteria have surged from 6.5 trillion approximately 15 years ago to 80 trillion in 2019. Well, that's 13 times the size. And in other words, without proper sustainability management, we would most likely not be able to survive on the long term. And by the way, this is why we at Fraport decided with the board of management on Tuesday, so 2 days ago, that we will establish a strategic sustainability management as an integral part of our corporate strategy from now on, just to ensure our business and its feasibility for the long term.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing, Klaus. So let's move on to the next question here. And some of you touched on this earlier, but I want to dig a little bit deeper on it. Like, how should businesses think about balancing sustainability and profitability in the travel industry? What might be some of the things that you measure? Does ROI factor into the decisions that you all make on a daily basis? Amy, do you mind leading us off on this one?
Sure thing. So, I kind of hit on it before. I mean, I think the short answer to the question for us is, not doing this has clearly become a problem, right? So it's an opportunity cost. It's a loss of revenue for our hotels. And so that balance is actually becoming more and more clear as these customer demands, are coming forward. But at the end of the day, any program we're putting together or any, capital investment that we're suggesting to our hotels are absolutely balanced with operational efficiencies and cost reductions. And especially at this point in the game with the state of the world, to bring anything to the table that doesn't meet those metrics, you're really going to, get laughed out of the room. So I think another thing to consider, we have a unique business model. So we have about 7,800 hotels around the world. Marriott International actually only owns about 15 of those hotels. So imagine we have, thousands and thousands of owners that, they are responsible for, making a profit, of course. And so, but it's going to look very different, based on the type of hotel, where you are in the world, let's say government legislation, right? If you have to do something from a sustainability perspective where you're going to get fined if you don't do that, it looks very different. So, our team, we're putting together programs that are obviously meeting our company goals, our customer demands, but it's going to look very different for every hotel. But absolutely, ROI, cost efficiency or cost reduction, operational efficiencies are all baked in there as really just table stakes for any new program or initiative.
Awesome, thanks, Amy. Stefan, how about you? Maybe share a little bit about how you guys think about environmental sustainability, profitability, and how you make the numbers work.
Yeah, I mean, the financials are one key aspect, but not the only one. Right, they are one amongst other criteria we take into account when we look at sustainable projects, which goes along the whole value chain. And the financial aspects are not limited to revenue generation; they're also extended to cost prevention. Right, so if you create additional cost along the value chain, doesn't matter it's on our side on the production side or once the product is in operation, that is also something which needs to be taken into account. Nevertheless, we always try to see that in a bigger picture because sustainability is one part of corporate social responsibility, which contributes to it. Of course, currently it's in everybody's mind, but we shouldn't forget there are many other aspects we need to address in our industry to have a long-term future. The other element we try to address to have a short-term view on that, but at the same time also having a long-term vision. So I'll give you two examples. Short-term, we just recently launch what we call an electronic flight service. So we help our customers with an application, with a tool provided to the flight crews, integrating all flight relevant data into one tool that the pilots and the flight crew can make a decision on the spot how to operate the flight most efficiently. That is something short term, and we are rolling out the product right now. Long term, as most of you know, we have launched our so-called zero-E projects, zero emission airplane projects, targeted for entry into service around 2035. So we're working a lot also on that long-term vision. So now the key question, coming back to your aspect financially, of course, short-term, we have to look at how this contributes to more efficient operation, but long-term, we need that vision to challenge us and all our partners in the industry to go beyond.
Right, understood. Thank you for sharing. That was great. Klaus, how do you think about this? I'm sorry. Yeah, Klaus, how do you think about this from the airport perspective?
Well, I think I touched on that a bit earlier already. And as I said, the economic situation in our industry is so tight that it sounds a bit like squaring the circle to invest in ecological measures at this time. But the good thing is that we are still finding topics that are both ecological and economical. So for example, we have signed a contract just recently to purchase electricity from an offshore wind park in the Northern Sea. And we are heavily investing in our rather old building infrastructure and implementing automation systems for more efficient heating, which is quite an issue looking at the large buildings we do operate at an airport, and so on. So there are quite a few which can fulfill fulfill both dimensions, the ecological and the economical. But to be short, precise on your question, yes, profitability and ROI do matter, and they are, looking at the economical situation at the moment, rather important to survive.
Absolutely. appreciate the input on that. That was it's really informative, and it's a lot to balance as you think about all of the things that are happening, all the requests being made for you, how you address them, and of course how you make the numbers work and keep the business, sustainable and moving forward. We touched on, I heard somebody mention it a little bit earlier in the conversation. I want to ask a question around it. The travel industry certainly has its fair share of critics when it comes to the environment. This is likely always putting you on the defensive when it comes to protecting your brand. How do you handle that? Stefan, would love to hear your thoughts on this first.
Yeah, this goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning, to put things in context and to educate. And it's for a good reason, and we are ready for the challenge, for our contribution to the travel chain, to constantly improve. And it's important that we have that dialogue, that we have the exchange with all stakeholders in our industry to have a long-term plan to sustainably survive, so to speak. So that's why we do a lot to create more transparency about our role, providing facts and figures about our contribution, because then we have a good reference to talk with everybody who is interested to talk to us, how we can improve. And as I said, we play a key role, but we are not playing the only role in that game. So that's why we work very closely with our customers, with the airlines, with our leasing companies, with the airports like Fraport, because the product we provide is a piece of the overall aviation travel chain.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stefan. Klaus, same question for you. How would you respond?
Dan, I love that question because, as I've already said, we will tackle all measures that really have an impact and that can also be justified economically. But above all, we are also working on our purpose. I mean, why is aviation, which accounts for 3% of the global CO2 emissions, so much more in the spotlight than the cement industry, for instance, which accounts for almost 10% of the global CO2 footprint, or shipping, which is also responsible for around 3% of CO2 emissions? And however, everybody's talking about aviation and how bad aviation is for our ecological system. And our previous purpose of connecting people around the world is obviously no longer as strong after the pandemic as it used to be. But beyond that, we are securing entire economic cycles, enabling emergency supplies worldwide, and so on. So what we really have to work on as an industry is on achieving a new view of our right to play, as I believe.
Got it. Thank you, Klaus. Amy, last question, last topic for you. How do you defend Marriott when it comes to all of these pressures and critics that are coming your way?
Yeah. Well, I think my short answer is, we try to welcome it as much as possible, right? I mean, it can be tough to protect the brand when you're, smeared across the news for one thing or another. But at the same time, we know that given the scale of our company as the largest hospitality company in the world, we can absolutely do better, and we strive to do better all of the time. And so when we hear, those criticisms, it as I said, can be tough. However, it really just, I think, puts even more of a fire to make us, ever more committed to the commitments that we've made. And it really is almost, you have to welcome it to some point, because as I said before, sometimes that criticism leads to even better solutions. And so I think that that's what always kind of keeps me going. At this scale, if we get it right and we achieve those goals, the impact is just so powerful. So I would definitely say welcome it, and then just remain transparent. I mean, we're not hitting it on the mark every time. We have 700-800 hotels that we're trying to get to do the right thing every day, and we're not perfect, but we do, share every little bit of the journey and the mistakes and the successes. And so I think we'll continue to do that, and, just looking forward to the future.
Awesome. Well said. So this has been fantastic, incredibly informative. That's all we have time for today. So I want to thank our panelists, Amy, Klaus, and Stefan, for sharing your insight and expertise. And with that, call it a wrap and turn it back over to Plug and Play.
Thank you to all of our panelists, and thank you, Dan. Now we're back for the startup pitches. So grab your cup of coffee and get ready to welcome Heather Stubbe from Reposite. Heather?
Hi there, I'm Heather Stubbe, CEO and co-founder of Reposite. Over 50% of the world's travel is planned by travel professionals, and hopefully this is not news to this audience. Trips planned by travel professionals generally fall into one of two categories. Either they're planning a predefined packages that have standard off-the-shelf reservations, or a custom itinerary that requires a bit more of a personal touch. And to date, a lot of innovation in this space has focused on the first category. APIs that have updated availability can connect travel professionals to networks of the largest and most widely known suppliers that make buying and selling of these off-the-shelf itineraries really easy. But yet, the modern traveler is demanding itineraries that are personalized to them. And any group travel, whether it's a small group of 10 or a corporate group of 500, requires a large degree of customization. And so these trips cannot be booked through rigid APIs. They require the expertise and coordination of a seasoned travel professional. The work of a travel professional for these types of trips is a very manual and time-consuming process. They have to research the right suppliers, communicate and negotiate for custom pricing, keep track of all those payments, and Reposite aims to solve for this. We've studied the way that travel professionals need to search for suppliers and have built a proprietary taxonomy so that any supplier, whether it's an activity, a hotel, a venue, a restaurant, and so on, can be accurately tagged and classified. We've done this with thousands of suppliers so that they can be quickly identified to fill even the most specific itineraries. That means that if you need to find a gluten-free restaurant in Brooklyn with a private dining room that accommodates 50 people, you can instantly zero in on your options. We've also made it really easy for travel professionals to receive custom pricing from those suppliers, organize all their communication in one place, track commission and profit in real time. And so what used to take days of research and calling and trying to manage everything in Excel spreadsheets is now effortless and, dare I say, fun with Reposite. And this is what we pitched on the same stage just 3 months ago. And through Plug and Play, we've been privileged to get connected with some of the brightest minds in this industry. We've learned that they've loved the foundation that we've built, and we're craving more. And so through these conversations, we created the Reposite Trips Marketplace, where travel professionals can post trips of what they're working on and what suppliers they're looking for, whether they need more options, better pricing, or just fresh ideas for a trip. And for the first time ever, this allows local suppliers a way to see and bid on trips that are being planned in their area. This means that a Chicago hotel within the Reposite network that has a great corporate meeting space will notify them whenever a corporate group is planning a trip in the Windy City. So they can submit a proposal to that travel professional and have a chance at winning that business. Within the first week of launching the marketplace, over 100 listings were created by travel professionals. And we saw a huge spike in suppliers joining the Reposite network in order to submit quotes for these trips. We are grateful to the Plug and Play team for facilitating the conversations that have led to this successful new product launch. The marketplace brings more business to local suppliers, more inspired itineraries to travel professionals, and more transparency into the world of B2B travel. If you are a travel management company and want to equip your team with Reposite's supplier discovery platform and workflow tools, or if you're a supplier that's interested in winning new business from travel professionals that are planning trips in your area, I encourage you to set up an account on reposite.io. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. It was actually a pleasure working with you guys. Up next, we have Cloverly, presented by none other than Dan Bonnet. Dan, welcome again.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I'm Dan Bonnet, Head of Sales and Partnerships at Cloverly. I'm going to give you a brief update on what we've been working on over the past few months. As a refresher, Cloverly is a sustainability as a service company that enables our customers to easily build carbon offsetting solutions. We bring simplicity, accessibility, and ease to the complex world of carbon offsetting. Excited to share with you what we've been working on. Cloverly has created an API-first technology that allows our customers to do a few key things: calculate, offset, and report on the carbon footprint associated with any digital transaction. Our infrastructure makes it fast, easy, and very low cost to build sustainable programs that can be widely adopted. We connect businesses in many industries with the ability to easily offset their carbon footprint with projects that are meaningful to them. Let's talk for a minute, really briefly, on how this works. First step is calculating. We take inputs from various types of digital transactions that have carbon footprints, such as a flight, staying in a hotel, renting a car. In real time, we calculate the carbon impact and return the cost to offset that carbon via a number of projects in our portfolio. Offsetting. Cloverly brings hundreds of high-quality, third-party verified projects into our ecosystem. This allows our customers and their consumers to always have a variety of project types available to them. Variety is necessary because it will appeal to a wide audience and drive adoption. Lastly, reporting, very important. We provide in-depth reporting on every single transaction that is processed so the purchaser is confident that their carbon offset funds have been sent to the right place. We've streamlined this process so anyone can build solutions leveraging this system. Building trust is critical to driving widespread adoption. We bring full transparency to the customer for every single transaction. With every offset purchase, we provide details about the project that received the offset, description of the project in thorough detail, the amount of carbon offset that was purchased, for how much carbon impact that was had, and lastly, all linked to the original transaction ID. This view is available to the consumer, and all the underlying data is available to our customers via the API if they want to use it in other ways. We also provide a sustainability dashboard. Here you will be able to see the impact your program has had on projects all over the world, the amount of carbon offset broken down by project type, full visibility into every single transaction that was processed using your partnership with Cloverly. We've made a ton of progress over the past few months, and I want to highlight a few key accomplishments. We've completed product enhancements to expand and refine our carbon offset calculations, bringing new capabilities to travel and hospitality. We've refined and improved our pricing models based on customer feedback. We've conducted case studies with a number of customers and have quantifiable results showing that leveraging Cloverly has led to improved conversions online and higher, stronger repeat purchase rates. We've expanded our leadership team, adding critical new roles, such as a head of sustainability. We've added over 50 key accounts into our pipeline and have been selected as vendor of choice in a number of key deals that we're negotiating. Lastly, we're in active conversations with over 20 strategic partners, including having already signed up a few. As we look forward to 2022, we're very optimistic that the momentum will only continue. Interestingly, we've also found that use cases for which Cloverly solutions can be applied go well beyond travel and hospitality. Customers are seeking us out for their own internal carbon footprint calculating, as well as bringing new and innovative customer-facing solutions to the market. It's been really exciting to see the positive reaction that we've gotten from many of the industries we've talked to. I want to thank Plug and Play, the corporate partners and mentors for all their support throughout the process thus far. It's been a wonderful experience. We're currently seeking two things. First, more conversations and feedback to advise on our product roadmap, and more pilots with corporate partners. We'd be excited to engage with anybody that's interested, so please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Great as always. Now it's turn to hear from Zitlin and its wonderful founder and CEO, Human Darcy. Welcome.
Understanding future intentions and behaviors of travelers is critical if you want to maximize revenues, which is the core focus of Zitlin. We power retailing and e-commerce decisions with predictive insights. My name is Human. I'm the CEO of Zitlin Technologies, predictive analytics and AI startup based out of Geneva, Switzerland. We're a well-capitalized startup, did an oversubscribed round of 2.5 million in June and doing another round as we speak at 2.5x valuation increase in 4 months. Prior to Zitlin, I was Global Head of Business Intelligence and Aviation Data at IATA for 10 years. Pretty much all players in travel or those dependent on travel struggle with retailing and e-commerce. Airlines, airports, agencies, luxury brands, and many others face challenges with predictive demand. All while it's a fact that the lack of predictive insights means double-digit percentage revenues are left on the table. And the pandemic has only worsened this problem, making this an even bigger opportunity. Zitlan prediction platform is fed with enormous wide range of real-time big data feeds through our data partners. Our platform processes and transforms the various disparate signals and uses machine learning models to generate real-time actionable predictive insights, giving our customers the ability to augment their commercial planning decisions for analysts, managers, and executives. The predictions can be consumed standalone or integrated in automated workflows. Our prediction platform consists of the predictions through our prediction as a service available today and other features to support the use of the predictions. The predictions range from pre-sales, intent, booking, and physical movement of travelers. Use cases range across airlines, airports, OTAs, and TMCs. We already engage with the biggest airlines, airports, and agencies in the world. Direct benefits include boosting productivity of data scientists and analysts, and of course, significant revenue uplift through contextual forecasting. Our tech stack is cloud native, where we process in near real time massive amounts of big data and turn it into granular predictive insights. We're on the leading edge of what is scientifically and technology-wise possible. For example, we are the first in the world to offer a prediction as a service that is actually real time. We are a team of hardcore scientists, engineers, and industry experts and executives with a mission to have a major positive impact across travel. And finally, as far as we are concerned, nothing is random. Contact us for more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Human. It's always great having you here with us. Our next startup comes all the way from the Netherlands, and it's BagsID. Marlon van der Meer, its founder and CEO, will tell us all about how BagsID is not only the future for baggage handling, but also a bet on sustainability. Marlon, the floor is yours.
Hi, welcome to the BagsID Network Plug and Play Winter Summit update. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Marlon van der Meer. I'm the founder and CEO of BagsID. I'm here to tell you all about what we have been up to over the last few months. So sit back, relax, and let's tell you about the future of baggage handling. Over the last few months, we have been in conversations with airlines and airports within the Plug and Play program, such as Brussels Airport, Fraport, as well as service providers, including Siemens and Daifuku. Although great conversations were had, we decided to keep our focus on both Eindhoven Airport and Amsterdam Schiphol to gather data and further feed our AI algorithm, test applications via app development, and install hardware to prove our concept in real life. Among other milestones, this has resulted in our image database expanding to in excess over 182 million images, making it the largest single image database in the world dedicated to baggage. We see opportunities for BagsID network technology to be built into every aspect of the baggage journey, from check-in to arrival. With applications such as super segregation, we will identify a bag's destination and live connection time and segregate the bag into hot and cold categories to minimize the risk of misconnections. I think we can all agree that digitization is the future. And our goal for this accelerator and beyond is to showcase the amazing technology we have developed and through implementation, further prove that traditional barcode bag tags and the alternatives, such as RFID, have no place in the future of baggage handling. IATA has been talking about the use of RFID tags for a number of years now, and we are not prepared to sit back and let technology move forward without us like that. We are the change. Our objectives are ambitious, but we believe that they are attainable and necessary. Among other things, we are currently working towards the first fully tagless flight operated by Transavia, which will depart in late 2023. Our first goal is to get airports and airlines in Eindhoven, as well as in the UK, Spain and the USA, upgraded and fully BacksID and network ready. Between now and 2023, we intend to fully enable 10 airports with the BacksID network baggage biometrics technology, using arch-mounted and mobile cameras. We know what we are doing and how, but there is still the question of why. Well, there's a whole host of reasons for the eventual removal of traditional baggage tags, but with our ultimate goal being fully tagless by 2030, one of the most important is the environment. We need to become more sustainable, not just as a business, but as an industry. BacksID Network was founded with climate change and sustainability at the forefront of my mind. As well as the fundamental issue of sustainability, there are several fantastic benefits that our AI technology, including an average read rate of over 99%, a vastly improved passenger experience, and cost saving across the industry. BacksID Network is a win-win solution. So what's next? Well, we are continuing our forward trajectory, setting up and refining our hardware and looking forward to the future. We are certainly looking forward to our tagless future. And if you would like to be up to date with our progress, you can do so via our website, backsid.com. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Marlon. It was wonderful. Now, our second to last speech of the day, coming all the way from Quebec, the sustainability solution, Novisto, will be presented by Casper Batter. Casper, take it away.
Hi there, this is Casper from Novisto. Since we last spoke, I'm happy to say that we've continued on our high growth trajectory. We grew our team by almost 50%, and we signed with 9 new customers with an average market cap of $20 billion US. Some are banks and insurance companies, and other actually in the tech industry. As a reminder, Novisto's aim is to be the world's leading software solution for integrated ESG data and management. In case you weren't able to attend the selection day in August, let me run you through what Novisto does real quick. We have identified 4 major and consistent pain points in ESG data management. First, the nature of ESG data makes it extremely difficult to efficiently gather, making companies rely on primitive tools to aggregate data across units. Second, the quality of published ESG data is inconsistent. Third, multiple reporting standards and frameworks makes it difficult to determine what topics to report on, what information to provide, and where to put it. And fourth, companies lack a holistic view of their ESG data that would allow them to clearly assess risks and opportunities. At Novisto, we are building an ERP for ESG, allowing our customers to store key documents, policies, and reports for a more data-centric approach. Novisto automates data collection through an automated solicitation method, the importation of datasets, and APIs that connect to existing softwares in the company's tech stack, increasing efficiency and decreasing human error. We digitize and centralize all relevant standards, frameworks, and rating agencies, and are continuously updating our matrix and adding customer-specific metrics to increase reporting and disclosure efficiency. With our powerful quality assurance features, Novisto's customers can be confident in their dataset, and our digitally enabled audit trail allows them to log who uploaded, approved, or modified a specific data point and when. This greatly facilitates their third-party auditing. Our AI algorithms can provide additional insight on sustainability performance, ultimately equipping your company with all the necessary tools to make the best data-driven sustainability decisions. With Novisto, our customers can expect increased trust in their dataset, efficiency in their business processes, and insight generation from their ESG data, facilitating, again, data-driven decision-making to increase their sustainability performance. Novisto is accessible through any browser and by any number of users at the same time. Our purpose is to allow our customers to build their ESG data lake through a very flexible metric library. This list of data points is based on standards but customized to the client's needs and is fully searchable by various categories. During onboarding, our ESG analyst team will collaborate with our customers to establish this list based on the company's ESG strategy. Our Explore module also allows companies to search through their documents and quickly identify relevant paragraphs. Finally, we allow our users to benchmark their sustainability progress against their competitors using publicly available data at very granular levels, down to the individual metric. We have quite the agenda for the next 12 months. We are gearing up for our Series B round of financing. We are looking to double our team. We're establishing a physical presence in Asia. We're progressing at light speed on our product roadmap with additional AI functionalities, which will continue to streamline ESG data management. And until the end of 2021, we're still offering our pre-commercial pricing on our solution. So if you're curious to learn more about our solution and you want to lock in a great pricing for the next few years, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
What a great update, Casper. Thank you so much. So now, last but not least, another non-badge startup that aims at being a sneak peek to our future top 100 list. Welcome, Murray Decker from Touramigo, another Australian startup. Murray, all yours.
Hi, I'm Murray, one of the founders of Turamigo. Turamigo originated back in 2016 when I was working overseas with some of the biggest international multi-day tour operators throughout Europe, Asia and Australia. The multi-day tour industry is ripe for disruption. Currently, 88% of tour operator bookings still come from traditional bricks and mortar travel agencies. For the last 30 years, the only way agents have been able to sell multi-day tours is by manually loading in tours from Excel spreadsheets, referring to printed tour operator brochures, and manually processing tour bookings via phone, email, and old systems. This is a time-consuming process that results in 70% of lost sales and costs millions of dollars a year due to missing tours, data entry errors, missed promotions, and it requires an abundance of human resources. Turamigo has the technology and the software to help tour operators to sell their products for the first time online. Turamigo's technology and software integrates and aggregates tour operators into one system, allowing their tours to be connected live through a single link into existing and new online selling partners globally. The ability to distribute and sell multi-day tours online has seen a 350% boost in sales on average. Turamigo's software, automation, and live connection provides up to 82% in cost savings for both tour operators and selling partners. Pivotal to our success and scalability is the development of Turamigo's booking and reservation software, specifically designed for multi-day tour operators. This is a SaaS system which will revolutionize the back-end systems for tour operators and provide them with global distribution, live bookability, and automate their operations.
Touramigo's booking and reservation software is revolutionary and highly sought after by tour operators. For the first time, tour operators will have a cloud-based booking and reservation system designed to build itineraries for package tours, bespoke tours, day tours, and activities. Say goodbye to manual spreadsheets and offline itineraries and say hello to a brand new system that digitalizes your tour business. The significant features for multi-day tour operators are yield tour price at a product level and at individual departures, manage staff and supply payments automatically in one single system, tailored reporting and analytics to help tour operators grow their business, suitable for any tour operator of any size, access your system on the go with live features and updates.
When travel starts back again, which will be soon, there will be a massive requirement for this type of technology, particularly from startups or even businesses who have changed over the past year in order for everyone to be competitive in the market going forward. So I see huge demand on the horizon.
Turamigo's revenue model is profitable and scalable as it consists of a monthly licensing fee for our technology and software, plus a percentage on the transaction for overall sales revenue from both the selling agent and the multi-day tour operator. We are projecting a minimum 30 times return on investment in the next 3 to 4 years based on our current partnership contracts, being first to the market and the only software solution. Turamigo has already partnered with some of the world's leading and best-selling international tour operators. But as we continue to grow our inventory and expand our distribution network, Turamigo is primed to be the market leader in the multi-day tour industry.
Thank you, Murray. That was a great pitch. Well, dear audience, this is a wrap for the second block of startup pitches. We've heard all of these updates. Don't forget to fill the poll if you want to follow up with any of the startups that have pitched already. And now it's time for the award ceremony, starting with the Corporate Innovation Award. Jordan?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Paula. So at the end of every batch, based on engagements and everything our corporate partners have been able to do over the past 90 days, we award one of them with the Corporate Innovation Award. This partner is one of the largest OTAs in Japan. They were bold enough to actually launch an OTA in the market to compete with Booking and Expedia, which was called Copolo, which was launched in September, which is focused on sustainability. I'm pleased to announce that our Batch 12 Corporate Innovation Award goes to HIS Travel. And we have the CEO of HIS Americas, Hitano-san, online. Love to pass it off to you, Hitano-san, to give the audience a quick overview of what you've been able to achieve with Plug and Play and accept the award. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hideo Hatano from HIS USA Holdings. First of all, I would like to thank Plug and Play team, especially Amio-san, Jordan-san, Christy-san, Mike-san, and Lisa-san for their continuous support. We would like also express our gratitude to all the startup companies that are partnering with us and supporting our business. As you know, the pandemic has prevented people from traveling all over the world, but we launched our new brand website, Copolo, to create a new style of travel as people are getting back to travel. Copolo has launched in the United States in September, and we expand to North, Central, and South America in the future. Copolo is being built in collaboration with many startups. One partner company I wanted to mention is Choose, who won winner in the last batch, which serves offer to offset by calculating the carbon footprint. We are also planning to collaborate with more startups in the near future. If you are interested in partnership with us in the US, please contact us. HIS is also involved in the hotel business, energy business, and theme park business. We are also planning to grow these business significantly in the future. Our corporate philosophy is world peace. We would like to create a new business by collaborating with new technologies in order to bring peace to the world through travel. We look forward to your continued support. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hotano-san, and huge congratulations to you and the team for everything you've been able to do, even through the difficult times. But thank you and congratulations. Pass it off to you, Paulo, to give the Startup Award.
Yep, so the Batch 12 Startup Award, it was a difficult choice, but this time the winner is, drum rolls, Zikiro. Dana, congratulations. I'm sure you're here, so if you want to say a few words, happy to have you.
Thank you very much for announcing the award. I'm actually incredibly honored for us to be recognized as the Batch 12 winners. I would like to say thank you very much for the team working behind the scenes, helping take business from strength to strength. But more importantly, I think this award is really a reflection of the true value that Plug and Play brings to the ecosystem by connecting startups like ourselves with corporate partners. We've had incredible conversations across the board, really, from partners that we're looking to close deals with, but also more importantly on the office hours, the support. So I'd like to say Amir, Jordan, Christy, Paula, Mike, and the entire Plug and Play team, thank you very much for your support, guidance, and all of the invaluable relationships that you guys helped us build and the doors that you opened for us.
Congratulations, Donna. It was great getting to know you, and we'll continue to support you and the rest of the Batch 12 startups. But thank you and congrats. All right, so that's going to wrap things up for us. To throw a few dates on your calendar, our summer summit is going to be in June next year. Please reach out to me if you'd like to attend. And then for all of our partners, we'll be releasing the next top 100 list shortly. So we'll definitely send details on that as soon as we can. And then we'll have our selection day in February. And I just want to give a huge thank you to all the Batch 12 startups, the mentors, the partners, our advisors who participated and really helped these startups make moves this batch. And a shout out to Simon, Amy, Stefan, Klaus, Dan for speaking today. And a huge congratulations again to HIS and Ticketo. I'm pretty optimistic about the future, and hopefully we'll be able to host you at our headquarters in the new year. We actually built a state-of-the-art event center that we haven't been able to use yet, and hopefully we can actually use that in the coming year. And one other shout I'd like to give is our team. We can't do anything without a solid team, and one thing I'm really proud about is the team we've been able to put together over the past 12 months. And I am really excited about what we're able to do this year and what we're going to be able to do next year with this team. And we'll also be welcoming Casey as our new senior program manager on November 29th. So welcome, Casey. Look forward to working with you, and hope to see you all soon. And with the happy holiday season going ahead, please be safe, and hope you guys have great holidays, and thanks for dialing in today.